Hey, folks, good morning. It is Thursday, September 12th. Welcome to another episode of Steelers Morning Rush. I'm Alan Saunders. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And make sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications here on the YouTube channel. We are really growing here early in the 2024 season. We're going to do some film today. No, we're not going to do some film. We're going to do some whiteboard today. I had a good question from yesterday's episode from the member of the audience, which we're going to get to here in a second, about the difference between option plays and read option plays and RPOs and things of that nature. And this is complicated. I'm going to do the best I can with what I have here. So first, let's get to the question here from Daniel, or is it Danielle? Danielle Corwin. Alan, can you explain the difference between play action and RPO? This is a good question. This is complicated. Play action and RPO are like sort of like nephew and uncle of one another. So there's a bunch of concepts here, but we'll try to get to them all together. The very first concept is play action. Play action is fairly simple. You block like it's a running play. So anytime you have a running play on one of these plays here, let's see how well we can do this. You have your offensive line here. There's our quarterback, and there's our running back. And then we have we have a tight end, and we have a slot receiver and a split end. Okay. And so there's another receiver over there. Fine. Our offensive linemen are going to block forward. They're going to come out of their stance. If you go if two videos up yesterday, you can see the linemen, Broderick Jones and Troy Fautanu coming out of their stance. They're moving forward. That is a run set. On a pass set, they kind of drop and kick, and they come back like this, okay? So the point of play action is that a lot of defensive players, defensive end, is going to read their tackle and say, oh, this is a run play. I'm going to pay attention to my run responsibilities. Now, for the defensive end, it doesn't matter that much. But linebackers and safeties have both coverage and run stopping responsibilities. So if they see it's a run play, they might start to head to their run gaps and ignore players running routes. And that's the idea. So the quarterback's going to get the ball from the center. He's going to turn and pretend to hand it to the running back, who's going to kind of run up here. And then maybe he's going to come over here, and this receiver is going to run it out, and we're going to throw it there. Okay, because this defender is going to read this tackle coming out of run stance. His first action is going to be, oh, I need to come down here because if this is an inside handoff, I need to come down here and make this tackle for a loss. So if this defender takes those first couple steps, then they're going to get beat back to the flat. You're going to have an easy pass. So that's the idea of a play action pass. Now let's talk about options. The option is an old college offense. Actually, it was a pro offense way back in the day. A formation called the veer is where the option comes from. You get something like that, and then there's receivers out of both sides. So the veer option, or sometimes called the triple option, is still run by some service academies in college football. But this is an option play, which means the quarterback has multiple ways they can move the ball down the field. That's really all option is. So you have here on this play, you would have one running back running this way, okay? One running back blocking here, one running back running this way, and the quarterback running this way, okay? So the quarterback will come together with the running back here, can choose to give it to this player. That's called the dive, okay? They can come around the edge here and keep it and run themselves, or they can toss it. And you give the quarterback very narrow read assignments, right? You want to read the end, the outside linebacker usually. So if the end is outside the tackle, you give the dive, because then you'll get this block, this guy get the second level, you get a nice little chunk of change there. If the end's inside, then the quarterback keeps it, and the read moves to the outside linebacker. If the outside linebacker moves to tackle the quarterback, then he pitches it. You got to hope this guy and this guy hit their blocks, and you can have a nice gain off the side. This is a play that you will occasionally see in the NFL, but not usually. NFL players, especially NFL linebackers, are pretty fast, and they are really able to sniff out option plays fairly well. Hasn't ever really worked at the NFL level, but that's so play action and option are sort of the parents of what we mostly see now in the NFL. Do you remember when we had in that dive play that little moment where the quarterback and the running back come together? So now let's look at a modern traditional NFL spread offense here. We're going to have a play called the read option, okay? And the quarterback and the running back are going to come together. The quarterback is going to put the ball in the running back's hands. And actually, this is usually out of the shotgun. So it's more like this. Okay? They're going to move together up the field with the quarterback having the ball in the running back's belly. And then the quarterback is going to decide whether to give it to the running back or keep it himself, okay? And there's lots of different ways that those plays can be drawn up, but this is called a read option. So when you think of sort of modern mobile quarterbacks, this is a lot of what you see from them. And again, they're going to have a read. They're going to try to read the defensive end usually and say, oh, this guy's doing that, then I want to do this. This guy does that, then I want to do this. And it's Cam Newton is the player I think of when I think of the read option, but there's been plenty in terms of guys who have really made a living on that. Then you have the RPO, the run pass option, which is sort of like the final boss of this. So again, we're going to be in a similar looking shotgun alignment, and this quarterback and this running back are going to come together. All of these plays are still blocked like run plays, every single one, from the option, play action, read option, and now RPO. They're all blocked like a run play from the offensive line. So the quarterback and the running back are going to execute this mesh. They're going to hold it. Okay. And they still have the option of the running back getting the ball, the quarterback getting the ball, but the RPO introduces a third option in which these receivers, instead of blocking, are now running routes. And the quarterback can just pull it out of the belly of the running back, and instead of him keeping it, he can now throw it. So that is a triple option, just like the old Navy Georgia Tech running play, but the third one of them is a pass. So why are these plays good? Well, they put a lot of stress on the defense's keys. A defensive player is, for the most part, trying to read one thing about this offense and understand what's happening based on that one thing. They're already messing with the keys in terms of the offensive line. Some of these are running plays, some of these are passing plays, but they all look like run sets for the offensive linemen. They're further doing that by that mesh, right, where the receiver and the running back come together. That looks like a running play, but sometimes it's a pass. And so all this is just to stress out a defense. The Steelers did a good bit of it in the first game against the Atlanta Falcons. Mike Tomlin was asked about how much RPO they ran, and he said, well, sometimes it's not really an RPO. Sometimes it just looks like an RPO, but there's no pass component. That's a read option, see? And so, but they can do read options with Justin Fields. Russell Wilson's run the read option as well. They can certainly do RPOs with both of those guys. This is a big part of what the Steelers are trying to do and find ways to get guys open cheaply, right? It does not take an abundance of skill. You are fooling the defense and stressing the defense mentally, trying to get them to make a mistake, trying to get them to miss a gap or lose an assignment, and then trying to get some free yards. You're also using the athleticism of your quarterback as an extra player. Generally defenses do not account for the quarterback in the run plays. Now the read option presents the quarterback, the regular triple option as well, presents the quarterback as a viable option. So the RPO, you don't have to call it all the time because it makes your regular read option runs that much more dangerous. Now, when the defenders see that mesh, they can't just crash it. They have to respect the quarterback's ability to pull it back out of that mesh and throw the ball. The one big downside to this, as I said, all these plays have those offensive linemen blocking forward. That means they're moving downfield. You can only be a yard and a half downfield as an offensive lineman without being in contact with the defender. Otherwise, it's going to be an illegal man downfield penalty. That's why you've seen so many of those over the last 5 years of the NFL as compared to the way they used to do it before. It's just these RPOs. And so you have to execute it quickly. You cannot hold the ball forever because your offensive lineman going forward will eventually get too far downfield. Hope I explained that. And it is certainly something that is a part of the game plan last week for the Steelers. It is a part of the game plan this week, especially if Justin Fields is going to be their quarterback. I think the RPO, the read option are going to be big parts of what they do. He is I've said this before, but he is really, really good at going into that mesh and disguising his intentions. Everybody puts the ball in the running back's belly, but I think Justin Fields is particularly good at sort of hiding the football when he does it, where he puts his eyes. If a quarterback is just staring down his gap, I think at times a lot of defenders can read those eyes and say, oh, he's gonna pull it, he's gonna run. Fields is really good with the misdirection. Many times in training camp, I saw him put the ball in the belly of a running back, pull it back for himself, and then all the defenders just went over to the running back and left Fields all alone. He's really good at it. It will be a big part of the read option anyway, will be a big part of the offense this week. In the RPO, they'll do just enough to keep teams from crashing the mesh. That's what the Steelers do against Lamar Jackson, by the way. They just say, we don't think your running back and your wide receivers are good enough to scare us. So when you go into that mesh, we're just tackling the quarterback and we don't care about everything else. So you do have to have, a variety of weapons to kind of make this work. It's one of the reasons why the Steelers are really good against the Baltimore Ravens, because they just say, we're going to dare you to beat us with your arm. We don't think your receivers are good enough. We don't think your other running backs are good enough to scare us. And so if you watch the Steelers and the Ravens, a lot of times after Lamar Jackson gives the ball in this mesh, you'll still see him in the process of getting tackled by Alex Highsmith or TJ Watt, because they're not even looking at the ball. They're just saying, hey, we got a shot at the quarterback. We're going to take it. Here we go. And that's their strategy. It has been working against the Ravens. So these plays are not foolproof. They're not like indestructible, but if you have good players who are good at the scheme, you can definitely make it a big part of your offense. That's all for now. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.